Hey everybody, it is Wintermute coming to you from the think tank. And today we're going to take a look at a question that Germany is posed with during most games. And that is Scandinavia worth your effort? And by Scandinavia, if you're not familiar, I mean Norway, Sweden, and Finland. Now, Finland's kind of on it in its own kind of category because it has special alignment rules for Germany. In that if the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact is signed, then Russia can come and take Karjala, I believe it's pronounced. I could be wrong. And then when Germany declares war on Russia, these two places will automatically align with Germany, and they'll get whatever forces are left there. But before that, Germany, there's kind of two questions that are posed to Germany. One, do they want to take Norway? And two, what do they want to do with Sweden? Now, I never really crossed my mind until recently when I was talking to somebody, I forget who, and they mentioned that they were talking to another player who said, "Oh yeah, as Germany, I always invade Sweden and take it." Really, huh? Okay, well that's an interesting idea. Let's take a look at that as well. So we're going to kind of look at these two separately and then kind of together. Now, the first question is Norway worth the effort? Now, historically, Germany didn't, they went and they took Norway kind of easily and right away, but they had to put a lot of units there to defend it because it was always under threat from Britain coming over and taking it back. And I find that Germany is kind of in that same position here in this game. Because if you come and take Norway, now Norway is worth one here, and then Germany actually gets an extra one bonus during a wartime bonus for having a Trondelag. I guess that's how it's pronounced. So it's actually worth a total of 3 to Germany. Now, let's say Germany does come over here and take it, and now they're going to have to garrison all 3 spots because all 3 spots are pretty easy, very easily within striking distance of Britain. So, how much they have to garrison it is a question they're going to have to answer for themselves. And is that worth those 3 IPP a turn? You do have a little bit of a navy that you have to contend with, and that navy, if you don't take it out, is going to become part of Britain. And then Britain can come over and kind of take these, unless you really put some effort into defending it. Britain can probably come and take it back from you pretty easily, in my opinion. So I really don't know whether Norway, honestly, in my opinion, Norway by itself is probably not worth the effort for Germany to go take, unless I'm missing something. That's possible that maybe there's a factor involved that I don't quite get when it comes to Norway and its value to Germany versus the amount of effort you need to put into keeping it. Not so much taking it. Taking it isn't hard, but it's keeping it that I think is going to be the problem because, all Britain has to do is build a couple land units, a few Marines, a couple transports, and take it back from you without too much effort. So, do I think it's worth it? Probably not. Not economically, anyway. Positioning. Maybe there's a reason you want to keep the British busy up here, so you take it, and then you kind of pull back and you don't put much in to defend it, but you want to keep the British busy. But on the other hand, once Britain takes it back from you, now they're getting the 2 IPP from this. So you took it, you put the effort into taking it, and then Britain took the effort into taking it from you. How they're probably going to get, quite frankly, they'll probably get more money out of it in the long run than you will, in my opinion. So I really don't think Norway is worth it. I would rather just see them stay neutral the whole war and not give Britain anything, and I don't really think it gives me much. Now let's look at Sweden, and I never really thought of invading Sweden. But now that I think about it, once I started to think about it, oh, okay, I start to see the advantages of that. Those three IPP that you get from Sweden as a wartime bonus come to Germany regardless of whether they physically own it or whether they're neutral. So they can actually come and take Sweden and still get that 3 IPP wartime bonus income. So that's kind of a safe bet when you think about it like that. Now, this nation is going to be a lot harder to take, or you're going to have to put more effort into it at least, than Norway. Norway was not heavily defended. Sweden actually has a fair amount of units. I mean, not a ton, but they tend to have, I mean, they have several infantry to start with. They actually have 2 coastal ships, coastal defense ships, and I want to say a torpedo boat destroyer, so you've got to take that navy out. Otherwise, it becomes British. But this is actually more worth it, because now, how is Britain going to get over here to take this? This is much more easy to defend than Norway is, where Britain can just sort of land wherever they want. And it's worth 3, and it has a factory, a minor factory already. So you actually can continue to reinforce it by building units up here. And then, assuming that the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact was signed, you can start putting some fast-moving units up here. And right off the bat, as soon as you declare war, you've just opened up another front here into Russia. Just automatically, regardless of what the Finns are doing, because they align, and then you can, go into or move through their territory and open up another front. Because the Finns aren't going to be left with a whole lot of units by the time Russia takes Krjala. So that's actually, that's I think a solid option is to take this. So I think that even though you need to put more effort into it, and you're going to risk losing units, and you probably will lose units because they actually don't have a wimpy army. I think that Sweden actually is a pretty good bet to take in terms of long-term benefit of having this factory, opening up another front. So I would say no on Norway, yes on Sweden. However, let me put this out there now. If you take if you take Sweden, suddenly Norway becomes a whole hell of a lot easier to take and keep. Because now, if you take Sweden first, you can just go into Norway, basically just roll right in and take all 3 territories at once. Because these... all right, so this territory actually does not connect here. So these 2 you can basically just walk right into and take. You're gonna, whatever units are there. I think there's 2 militia. So you can just walk right in. And then you can do maybe an airborne operation to drop some guys in here and take that out with some fighter support. Then once you take this, you kind of leave a token defense force, or maybe not even any defense force, because now you can keep your units back here in a defensive position and counterattack anything the British do. So if you're going to take Sweden, you might as well go ahead and take Norway at that point. And it's going to be easier to reinforce because you've at least got a factory here that you can build some an infantry turn, an artillery turn, or something like that as a counter. And then you're also at the same time building up that force to go ahead and come into the northern part of Russia here. So if you're gonna go for Sweden, I would go for Norway. Personally, when I crunch the numbers and I look at the board and I look at the circumstances, but again, I've never had a chance to try this out, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something I'm completely missing, but I think this is an interesting play for Germany. and how they, kind of a long-term commitment to taking over all of Scandinavia and making it all part of the Greater Reich, and then projecting whatever threat wherever, and then on top of that, once you take southern Norway and Gotland here, you can actually build units. You actually do have two minor shipyards here, so you can actually go ahead and start building units directly here into this zone if you want. In addition to if you need to, if you're going to like splash a big navy, you've got some more space to do it. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it. Norway by itself, I don't think is worth it. Sweden is very likely worth it if you're willing to commit the resources to take it. And then if you're going to take that, then I think go ahead and take Norway, because those are easy IPPs to grab. Norway's not strongly defended, and with a token defense force and then a nice solid counterattack force here, maybe some mountain infantry and whatnot, I think that Britain can get suckered into taking these territories and you can chew them up on the counterattack. Maybe. Depends on what they do. They may look at that and go, nah, I'm not messing with that. Or you may wait until you go into Russia and they go, okay, now I'm going to come mess with that. So, it's interesting because it gives you the option to open up another front into Russia very, very easily, but it can also open up another front for the British and Americans to come at you with. So those are the pros and cons of it that I can see. Please, in the comments, leave anything else that maybe I missed or didn't take into account. And like I said, I've never had a chance to try this. I really only heard about it a couple weeks ago, taking Sweden. So, this is just me noodling through it and thinking of the pros and cons. But until I actually have the chance to do it, I won't fully comprehend it. So maybe if somebody else has tried this, they have some input. And like I said, if there's anything I overlooked or didn't take into account, please let me know in the comments. And yeah, it's an interesting play. Let's get a good discussion going on it. So with that, this is Wintermute signing off from the think tank.